Hi, I'm Mia Winston-Hart and I'm an accessories designer. I'm going to show you how to work with flowers and open back bezels. When working with flowers, you can either use pressed ones or dried ones, as long as it is completely dry and there is no moisture at all left in your flowers. So I'm going to be using this dam tape from Resin8 as my protector on the back of my bezels. And this is very, very sticky. And when you unpick it, you need to try and not leave any fingerprints or glove marks on it. So I'm just going to move my resin slightly. And so try and make sure you're only touching the edges. It's very, very sticky. Okay, so I've already planned my composition with my flowers and leaves inside my bezels here, and I have a mixture. These three here are open back bezels, so you have to use the tape. And then this one here is a closed back bezel, so you don't need to use the tape because you've got the metal on the back holding everything in. So I'm going to start by placing my bezels on here and really pushing down those edges. And you can get these in lots of different shapes and sizes. Okay, so now they are nice and secure on the tape. I'm going to get one of my reusable silicone sticks to pour my resin, which has been sat now for a good 5 minutes, so there are not many bubbles left. And I'm only going to pour a very thin layer, as I'm going to pour in 2 layers because the flowers and the leaves are so light from being dried that they will just float to the surface. So I'm going to use the stick just to nudge the resin to the edges of the bezel. And you want to make sure that you do get the air bubbles out, because if they're in there and you take the tape off, you will be left with a hole in the back of your resin piece. So now I'm going to pick up the leaf and place it into the resin. Now you need to push it down and make sure that it is covered by the resin. But as I said earlier, it's so light that it will float to the surface. That's okay, because we're going to leave it to dry and then pour another layer on top, and that will keep it nice and firmly in the resin. So that's the first layer for the open back bezels. Now my first layer with my flowers in has dried. I'm going to pour my second layer. I would recommend waiting as long as possible so it is bubble free, especially when you're working with large areas of clear resin, as the bubbles will be really noticeable. I'm going to use my silicone stick to help me. I'm going to very slowly pour in my second layer. I'm going to kind of leave it to go to the edges by itself because I don't want to pour too much in. So I think that this one here could have a few more drops, just so it's got a nice domed effect, but not much. I would recommend when you're at the point where there's lots of resin in the bezel that you do use your stick to drop it in. Okay, so I've poured my second layer and that's it. I'm going to leave them to dry. I would recommend that you leave them to dry for quite a long time so you know that they are fully hardened and cured. Once you've done that, what you can do is you peel them carefully off the tape, and you can use, I use De-Stick It from Resin8 to clean the back because sometimes you're left with a kind of sticky residue, but things like acetone or WD-40 work really well as well. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you would like to find out many more resin techniques, you can take my Domestika course, and the link is below.